Hi, it's Denise from Our Flabby Life. I'm going to do ribs this afternoon. We're going to have ribs for Grey Cup dinner. Jameson's busy working on homework today and I'm making dog food, so I really don't want to have to do a whole bunch of preparation and work for our dinner. So all I've done so far is I just took this out of the fridge. Earlier I cut these and I put some rub on them and put them back in the fridge. And so now I'm going to put them in the Instant Pot. So I've got my Instant Pot with my liner. And I forgot to take my turbot out of the dishwasher. So I'll do that now. Ooh, it's hot because the dishwasher just ended. So put that in there. And I need to put in 1.5 cups of liquid. I like to use some chicken stock, or I like to use homemade, but I generally use this carton stuff. So I think I'm almost at 1.5 cups already. I like to put in a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Helps break down the tissues and make it tender. And just a shake of liquid smoke, just a drop or two, to give it that barbecue smoke flavor. And that will be it. Just gonna throw that back in the fridge. So I'm going to put that in the pot right at the bottom. Got my liner in there. So now I'm going to start putting my ribs in. I'm going to try to stand them up. So just kind of lean them however they'll lean. They don't stand the greatest, obviously. Some of them will stand better than others. I try to put those in first, and then the other ones will help hold the other ones up. Some of these are tall, so we're going to lean them a little. Okay. So might have been able to get another rack in there. This is 2 full racks. So we will have lots of leftovers. We always have lots of leftovers. And I like to cook with leftovers because then I don't have to cook as often. Just makes, making lunches easier. Alright, so we got all that in there. I will take a little video of how that looks with my phone. So that is what it looks like, all stacked in there, kind of standing up. Okay, we have the condensation cup on the back, and we are going to use manual and set it. We're going to do manual and set it here for 25 minutes. 25. It's not going to turn on until I put the lid on. So we have this, the lid, and I'm going to put my sealing ring on because I washed it. So it's good and secure, kind of wobbles around a little. And that's going to go on, but this piece has to go on as well. I'm washing the lid out. It's dancing free. So, and it's going to go over to venting. Sorry, it's going to go to sealing, not to venting. We're making all kinds of noise. It's like R2D2. So there we go. It is now on. And it'll start to pressurize, and then it'll start to count down the time. And while it's doing, once it does that, well, before it starts counting down the time, this is going to do a little plink when the button pops up, because now it'll be fully pressurized. Till then you might hear it go ch, ch. If it's making lots and lots of noise, it's possible you forgot to seal with the sealing ring. So if it's making lots and lots of noise, double check it. Or if it's taking more than, say, 10 or 15 minutes to pressurize, Now, that being said, if you have this thing full of, say, like soup or something, it could take a half hour to pressurize because it's got to heat that all up. So it also depends on if you're using hot water or cold water. Will also affect the amount of time that it takes to heat up. Now, I tend to use the cold water unless the recipe asks for hot water because it does affect the recipe time, because it does start cooking even though it's not pressurizing because it is heating, right? So it will affect the time, especially if it's supposed to take a half hour to pressurize and now it's only taking 5 minutes because you boiled the water first. So that you want to keep that in mind when you're trying to speed things along, that it's going to affect other things, right? So these I put on for 25 minutes, and then meat, you always let it naturally release. So it's going to release for 20 minutes after it's cooked for 25. And so that's a total of 45 minutes. And then we're going to put it on a cookie sheet, brush on some sauce, and put it in the oven on, I usually put it around 400 or 450, or sometimes I broil it. It depends on how tart I want it. And I put it in for like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on, every sauce is kind of different, so it depends on your sauce. When I have a homemade sauce, they tend to be thicker, so I put them in for less time. And when I use a store-bought sauce, they tend to be runnier, so you might want it a little longer. So 10 to 15 minutes maybe. Okay, so that is how we get started with the ribs. You don't want to get too close to it because it's the steam. But that's what it's supposed to be doing. It's building pressure. See, it's set to sealing, not to venting. Ooh. I'm getting a little too close to the steam there. You gotta... Oh, see? It's hard to tell because I fogged up. But there we go. See, it's popped up. So now, in about a minute, this is going to change to, say, whatever time I set it for, so 15 minutes. Hi. Alright, so I think this is all in the way. It has to stay on that board or it's going to be on the counter. So it's going to be in the way. Let's move you a little closer and you will see better. Okay, so they are fresh out of the oven. They look amazing. Ooh. They are so tender that it is hard to get them off the pan without them falling apart. So let's just put a couple on this plate. And then you can see, like, I can literally take it right off the bone with my fork. They are so tender. I am just cutting it in half with my fork. They are super amazing. And they're still too hot to put in my mouth, but I'm sure that these are going to taste delicious. And they are super tender. So that is how you make ribs in the Instant Pot. And let me know if you enjoyed having the ribs and enjoyed this video. And I think I'm going to try to do mashed potatoes tomorrow, maybe even pork chops, but we'll see. I have to see if I have some in my freezer. Okay, so thanks for watching. Take care.